Let's start with this new topic, that is asymmetry in molecule, chirality, and enantiomers. So we have already seen that few molecules or compounds, uh, they behave, they have all their properties similar, exactly same, but they'll have two different behaviors towards plane polarized light, not towards normal light, but only towards plane polarized light. So the plane polarized light is either when it passes through that particular compound, it it will either turn it towards right or left. That is, turn it maybe in anti-clockwise direction or clockwise direction. So based on that, he said that okay, let's name these two compounds, and we have said the first category is the one which rotates in the clockwise direction. That is, we named it as dextrorotatory, and the second one as levorotatory. So these two are exactly same structure, same orientation. Only difference is that their behavior towards light, and that too only plane polarized light. So we said that okay, these compounds will be called optical isomers, right? So that there is only one change or one difference. Now let's see something else, which is actually the cause of this behavior, that is molecular asymmetry. So crystals of certain substances, like for example sodium ammonium nitrate, exist in two forms which have mirror image relationship. So mirror image means what? Say for example, if there is letter A here, right? So, and if there is a mirror here, you will have its image, and that will be like this. If I write letter B, its mirror image will be this. Correct? Now I cannot superimpose, or I cannot uh, I can place these two images on each other and they'll cover each other. But I cannot do the same with this image, that is B and B's image. Here it is not possible, right? So suppose this is A and this is A's image. So both will cover each other. But if I see the case of B, right, it won't be the case. This will not superimpose each other, right? So we have two things. One, with superimposable images, which image? Actually mirror images. And second one is non superimposable images. So these two things we see in day-to-day life, that there are two types of mirror images possible, and these two type of mirror images are also possible in molecules, right? In molecules, or in basically the molecules of the compounds which we are studying. Now the difference in optical activity which we have seen earlier in the two types is actually due to this molecular or this asymmetry. The first one is superimposable, second one is not. And that's why in second one, we can say that the mirror images are two different configuration of the same structure. But in first one, the two mirror images are exactly same. So they both have same orientation, while the second one has two different orientation. So this is the difference. A molecule which contains an asymmetric carbon lacks all elements of symmetry, and hence it is called a asymmetric molecule, right? So asymmetric carbon means what? Uh, the four valencies of carbon atoms are directed towards the corners of a regular tetrahedron. We know that, the as I have said it earlier, that think of a tripod here, right? And a stand of that tripod. So this is our carbon molecule. And then these are the four valencies of carbon. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the four valencies of carbon. Valencies of carbon means there it can be hydrogen, it can be a methyl group, ethyl group, any group or any other functional group can be attached in these four different valencies of carbon. Right now, this is a carbon molecule. What can happen is if there is a mirror placed here, so now it will have a mirror image. Now these two mirror images can be or can belong to one of these two categories, that is superimposable or non-superimposable. Right now, if I see only the skeleton or the structure, it will be like this one. Now the lines which are shown here, longer and shorter, that actually only to represent in 3D. Otherwise, all these bond lengths are same. So don't go by this length of the lines. All the lines represent the bond, and bond lengths are same. The thing which you see here, that one is bigger and smaller, that is in order to show the 3D arrangement of this. So the central carbon is still there, and then there are these valencies of carbon, that is four different valencies or four valencies of carbon. Now question comes, when it will be superimposable and when it will be non-superimposable? And the answer is very simple. If all the valencies of carbon in the original molecule are exactly same, then the mirror image can be superimposed, if not in one position, maybe by rotating to some other more rotating by an angle, and then we can superimpose that. So it is possible, right? So that is how even the carbon molecule, even the molecules, organic molecules where carbon is involved, even such molecules can have same mirror image, and those mirror images can be superimposable or non-superimposable. Right. So this optical activity in the three-dimensional arrangement of atoms is actually due to this difference in mirror images. Now, the four valencies of carbon atoms are directed towards the corner of regular tetrahedron, as you can see here. And if all the atoms or groups attached to a carbon atom are different, such a carbon is called asymmetric carbon. So that is the next point, that is what is asymmetric carbon. So that is very important to understand. What is asymmetric? So a carbon with all different groups, right? All means there are only four possibilities, right? So if all the four are different, say one is A, another is B, another is C, say not C, say G and E. So A, B, E, G. So all are different. So because these A, B, E, G, the four groups attached to carbon, all are different. So this carbon will be called asymmetric carbon. Right? and the carbon, if there is a carbon which has not all different groups attached to it, that is, it may be, there can be any one which is repeating. So the center one is carbon, and suppose there is this A, B, A, C. So all four are not different. What happened here? Here we have this A and A, which is same. And because this is same, this particular carbon is called symmetric carbon. Right? So what is symmetric carbon? All groups attached are not different. So here, at least, even if at least even two of them are same, then the carbon will be called symmetric carbon. That won't be an asymmetric carbon. Right? So the symmetry and asymmetry are also observed in many day-to-day objects. Our hand are symmetric, right? Uh, you take a sphere, it is symmetric. Cube, it is symmetric. Glass tumbler, it is symmetric. All are identical with their mirror images, and hence they are superimposable. However, many objects are not superimposable on their mirror image. For example, our hand, although it looks symmetric to us, but if you take side by side image of your hand, you won't be able to superimpose the image, the mirror image on the actual hand or hand on the mirror image. Same thing is here. So now this is little difficult to do it in 3D and with your imagination, that whether this carbon, the molecules mirror image will be superimposable or not. So because it is difficult, so that's why what we do is we probed it further, and we came to know about symmetric and asymmetric carbon. Carbon with all different attachments are asymmetric. Carbon with any two similar or same attachments are symmetric carbons. Now, objects which are non-superimposable, which we have seen above, objects which are non-superimposable and superimposable. The non-superimposable on their mirror images are called chiral or chiral, and the property of non-superimposability is called chirality. So if it is non-superimposable, such molecules are called chiral molecules, right? And this property is called chirality. Right? And those which are superimposable on their mirror images are called achiral or achiral. So these are the two different classes. And how to identify that? That comes from this asymmetric and symmetric carbon. So a molecule which contains an asymmetric carbon, as we have seen here, the molecules having asymmetric carbon lacks all elements of symmetry, and hence it is called an asymmetric molecule. So this molecule will be called asymmetric molecule, and this is the asymmetry of the molecule which is responsible for optical activity in such organic compounds. So this asymmetry of molecule, this is responsible for optical activity. Why? Because as we said, this is symmetric. So symmetric means its mirror image will superimpose on this. That means you have two exactly same molecules. There is no difference between those two molecules. Anyways, the two structures are not different in structures. Two compounds are not different in structures, not different in their chemical properties, not different in their any other physical property except optical activity are called optical isomers. So this means this optical activity has to do something with the asymmetry, and only if there is an asymmetry, then only that particular molecule will have two different mirror images. One will rotate towards left, other will rotate towards right. But if there is no asymmetric, that means there won't be two mirror images. I mean, the mirror images will be same. So there won't be any question of rotating in two different directions, rotating the plane polarized light in two different directions, right? So that's why asymmetric molecule means possibility of optical isomers, right? So the ultimate test of chirality is non-superimposability of an object and its mirror image. That is the final test which should be there. To check the non-superimposability, we just have to construct the models or draw the three-dimensional structure of organic molecules and their mirror images and try to superimpose them. But obviously this test is a difficult test. A simple test of molecular chirality is the presence of single asymmetric carbon in the molecule. So if there is even a single asymmetric carbon atom in the molecule, that will be our asymmetric molecule. So consider two simple molecules, that is, let us see some concrete examples now. Say for example, this propane 2-ol, right? And butane 2-ol. So these are two different compounds. And obviously their mirror images. Okay, so if it is propane 2-ol, that means 3 carbon, and on the second carbon there will be an OH group, right? So that means if I take propane 2-ol, there will be a carbon, and suppose this is the CH3 group attached to it in the background. This is on the back side of your screen. This methyl group is on the front of your screen, and this H is on the screen, and this OH is on the screen. And now consider this mirror. So how will the mirror image look like? It will have OH attached to this carbon, and then there will be this CH3 group attached here. There will be a CH3 here and H here. So now if you consider this, correct? These are two different mirror images, or if this is structure A, this is structure B. B is mirror image of A, and A is mirror image of B. As it is, if you try to place it A on B or B on A, if you try to do that, you will see that it is not possible. It will not superimpose, right? This OH, which is actually here, this will come here. So that won't superimpose. But still it is possible to do that. How? You rotate it through 180 degree. This structure, you rotate it through 180 degree, right? So from here, you just rotate it like this, considering this carbons, this axis, you rotate it like this, so that this OH comes here, and this CH3 comes here, this H comes here, and CH3 comes here, right? So after rotation of 180 degree, what will happen? This carbon still remains here, that is in the center. Here you have CH3, here you have H, this is your OH, and there is a this CH3 in the backside of your screen. So after rotation of 180 degree, what did we get? We actually get our A back. So obviously this configuration and this configuration is same, and now they will superimpose each other. That was the case of propane to all. Correct? Now see, so these two A and A will actually superimpose it. After rotation of 180 degree, you somehow achieve the first configuration itself. Now consider butane to all. So how does this butane to all look like? So butane means 4 carbon. Let us have the same COH. There will be one H here, right? And now one group on the back and one group in the front, right? The back one, let that be methyl, and this, let it be ethyl, that is C2H5, right? And now find its mirror image. So its mirror image will be what? It will be this. Obviously, just like in the previous case, these two are not superimposable. Right? At this moment, they are not superimposable. Okay, what to do now? Let us rotate them by 180 degree. If we rotate it by 180 degree, what will happen? That is, if we take this axis and rotate it by 180 degree, what actually will happen? Now, don't forget that this is a 3D structure. This CH3 which you are seeing here, that is actually, this is behind the screen. This is in front of the screen, right? And this is behind. But if you will rotate it, so if I'm rotating it by 180 degree, what will happen? The CH3 will actually go and come to the front, right? So CH3 comes to the front, that is after rotation of 180 degree, obviously that will come to the front, and C2H5 will go to the back side. So that is after rotation of say 180 degree, or any other angle. If you are able to think that, you can do that in 3D, you can try that, or here you will have to use your imagination. Now it's rotation. After rotation, this C and OH is okay, even H is okay because that is in the same plane, it will remain in the plane, right? But H will remain in the plane, but those two which were not in the plane, right, which was one behind and one in front of the plane or the screen, they will now change their location. So now C2H5 will actually go to the back of screen, and the CH3 will come to the front. So you have three configurations now: configuration A, configuration B. Even after rotation, you have configuration C. It is not A, B, A. I mean, even after rotation, you are not able to get the superimposable configuration. So this is non-superimposable. You try anything you try, you won't be able to superimpose this image on the original, right? So we don't have to directly see that. So this testing, as you can see, is little difficult to do, because it needs you to have command over imagining things in 3D, the structures in 3D first, and then just imagining structure in 3D is not enough. You imagined and you came up with your mirror image, that is okay, but then you have to think about the orientations of such mirror images, and then think about that whether if I rotate it by 90 degrees, 60 degree, 100 degree, 180 degree, is it possible that then you have to analyze whether it is possible to get a superimposable configuration or not. If you get a superimposable configuration, the molecules are achiral. If you get achiral, and if you are not able to get superimposable image, that means now the molecules are chiral, that is asymmetric, and then optical isomerism is possible. Now this test is very difficult, but what we observe is the difference between these two structures, that when there is a sure superimposable image possible and when it is not. So the one which is on this side, this one is superimposable, right? So after rotations it is superimposable, but even after doing so many rotations it is not superimposable. These are the two different cases. That means what, this is achiral and this one is chiral. And because it is all difficult for us to do this rotation and always for every molecule, so we conclude that the presence of single asymmetric carbon atom makes the molecule chiral and hence optically active. So no need to, there should be a simpler way to find whether this molecule is symmetric or not. So the three-dimensional structure which we have seen, we have seen that it is how these molecules can be found whether it is achiral or not. Right. So that's why we'll come with this simpler test, that is the difference between these two class categories. That is, suppose if this is category 1 and if this is category 2, what is the difference between these two? Is the carbon, this particular carbon. If you see this central carbon, the two different structures in category 1, these two are same, but in category 2 no two attachments to that central carbon are same. So which one is easier, drawing its 3D diagram and then finding its orientations, different orientations, or simply seeing whether the particular whether there is a carbon which has all same, or which has at least two same, or which has all different attachments. So obviously this approach is easier than drawing different structures, mirror images, and then thinking about the rotations. So what do we have to do? We are interested in whether a compound is optically active or not. We are not interested in this, whether it is inactive or not. We are interested in this, whether it is active or not. This part. If it is active, it has to be non-superimposable, right? Mirror images. Non-super mirror images means there has to be an asymmetric carbon. Asymmetric carbon means a carbon with all four different valencies. That's all. Or carbon having all four valencies satisfied by four different groups. No two groups of a carbon should be same. And if you are able to find a single, even a single carbon in that particular molecule, which is asymmetric, then the entire molecule is asymmetric, and it will result into two different mirror images, that is non-superimposable mirror images, and that will be optically active mirror images. One will turn light PPL towards right, another will turn PPL towards left. So that is the simplest test of optical activity, whether it is available or not. Just find out a carbon with all four different attachments. If you are able to do that, that is optically active compound. Right? So that is all about molecular asymmetry and chirality. Now we move to the next topic which we have listed above, that is enantiomers. So what are enantiomers? The optical isomers which are non-superimposable, we already saw. Mirror images of each other are called enantiomers, and the phenomena is called enantiomerism. So what are enantiomers? Is just a special name given to optical isomers. Right? And the phenomena will be called enantiomerism. It is just like our isomerism. It is isomerism of a different type. So we gave it this name, enantiomerism. That is optical isomerism. Just a name for that. The enantiomers have identical physical and chemical properties. Only difference is they rotate the plane of polarized light in opposite directions, but to same extent. So they'll rotate and rotate to the same extent. To understand the phenomena of enantiomers, say for example, we have bromochloroiodomethane. Bromochloroiodoethane. That means ethane, bromochloroiodomethane. That means methane means single carbon. Then we will have this, suppose bromo iodo. Coming out from this screen is say chloro, and then let this hydrogen be in the back of the screen. So this is bromochloroiodomethane. We have seen now this particular carbon is what? The carbon in the center. There's only one carbon, and this carbon is an asymmetric carbon. So this is our chiral carbon. That means this is asymmetric. So each of the two isomers which we will see, if I draw its mirror image, you can draw this in mirror image, and that mirror image won't be superimposable on this. Now each of the two isomers is optically active and rotates the plane of polarized light in the opposite direction, but to the same extent. So this structure, the structure which you get, this structure 1 and structure 2, are called, or they represent, the enantiomers of bromochloroiodomethane. Right? Same way what we saw here, this and this, they are enantiomers. Now just like enantiomers, we have another term that is diastereomers. So nothing. This is stereoisomers, which are not mirror images of each other, are called diastereomers, and the phenomena will be called diastereomerism. Now, this stereoisomers, I hope you already know this. If not, then we'll discuss it in the next class. For the time being, we, I think, understood what are these three different things or three different concepts or the terms which we have listed in the beginning of this class, that is molecular asymmetry, chirality, and enantiomers. So other things we'll discuss in the next class, and we'll also see uh, the nomenclature based on this configuration, that is DL configuration, RS nomenclature. So these things we'll discuss in the next class, and we'll also study what is racemic mixtures, right? So we'll do all those things in the next class, and hopefully that will be the final class for optical isomerism. Any doubt?